Used to be a Calc 1 teaching assistant. This really smart kid kept coming up to the TAR sessions because he very obviously had a crush on a girl who would also show up to after hours. They would both be the only two people in the sessions. When they needed homework help, I'd ask them to solve the problems together and come to me if they had any questions while I pretended to catch up on work but actually played GTA on my laptop. Sometimes I'd overhear them talking and getting to know each other. It was cute. He sure did make my life a hell of a lot easier. Right now I have 2 kids in my first period that just don't leave each other alone. The girl constantly complains if the boy doesn't show up to school. He is always pulling on her hair or finding any excuse to touch her. He likes to play thumb wars just to hold hands. It's really cute, but also annoying because they refuse to do work sometimes. I usually get them to do work by saying a very loud and annoying or teaching is fun. I've been on the student side of this. There was this cute girl in my physics class in high school who was struggling with the material, and I was pretty good at it. We were friendly and knew each other through classes and band, but never really got to know each other outside class. I think the teacher thought we would be good together though, because one day he went out of his way to pair me with her when we were going over the homework. He did this a few times, and eventually it turned into tutor sessions after class where we got to know each other really well. Long story short, we just celebrated our 5th anniversary together. Thanks Mr. R. I'm more than positive my teacher shipped me and my now GF when we were in 7th grade. For some reason 3 weeks into the school year he moved a few people around and put this girl in front of me and we started talking pretty fast. Never got mad if we were done with work and turned around to start talking to each other. Never teased us either. He even rearranged the entire formation of desks a few times and always sat me and her together. We've stayed together through middle and high school, 10 years and counting, and are planning on getting married. Edit. Oh hell yeah, we are totally inviting him to our future wedding. My little brother knows his son and last I heard from him, he was super happy we were still together. I'm a new teacher here, young and stuff, 23, as someone who went through that about 5 years ago. It's pretty obvious. During the training program I was in, we are assigned a teacher and observe and help teach the said class. During classroom discussions, when I let the teacher do his thing, I would just sit and try and figure out who liked who. I was bored, I couldn't have my phone out. This one nerdy kid sat next to this girl and he was just staring and staring. Funny thing is, groups were getting assigned for a silly project about evolution, where they would make a poster board at home, exchange phone numbers and stuff, and I got to choose the groups. My teacher mentor liked to incorporate me into class discussions and assignments. I purposefully put him and this girl in a group by themselves. Most groups were of 3 people. Little man, I got you. I'm not a teacher, but when I was in high school, we had this program where, if you were a high-performing student, you could help out in teaching grade 1 and grade 6 in the elementary school nearby. Anyways, I was teaching grade 6 students some grammar on the board, and I caught on earlier in the year that they loved picking out the names in the sentences I used. There was this really quiet girl in that class that I'm pretty sure 90% of the boys in the grade were in love with. Mayo. Let's call her Allison. Poor A was seated with boys who lived to serve her, but she was really oblivious to it. One day, I'm creating a paragraph on the board and asking input from this boy about what he wants it to say. Then I say, okay, let's put a girl in that sentence. Who's your girl? I meant give me a random girl name. Except he states loud and clear without even a second of hesitation, Allison. The whole class goes quiet, the teacher snickers at her desk, and I try not to double over laughing. Everyone turns around and looks at Allison, who's blushing bright red and flipping papers loudly for no reason. It was so cute. Poor Allison had so many subtle confessions. One time a boy sitting in front of her brought 18 books for her to read because he knew she loved to read. He would lug them around from home to school, back and forth, just so she can read them during quiet time. She thought he was carrying 2 books at the most and was switching them out every day, but he didn't do things halfway like that, not to mention another time an older boy held her hand down in the snow for too long. She came to me holding back tears and asking me to please help with warming her hands. She couldn't feel them. The older boy's younger brother who was in class kept hugging her, holding her hand, warming it so gently. Then when she was okay, he ran out of the class and beat up his big brother. I have a whole lot more stories. She just stuck out to me so much because apparently she had been going through that since her 2nd grade year Mayo. She was a very smart and capable girl, not really the helpless type, so it bewildered the teachers why the boys put her on such a pedestal. Edit 1. I actually remember helping out with my old grade 4 teacher's marking during lunch one time, and this little 4th grader boy comes in with a clarinet he'd borrowed from the music room and starts playing something unknown to the girl doing her homework in the front. It's pretty obvious he has no clue how to play. The girl gets annoyed, thinking he's trying to disturb her on purpose. He gets tears in his eyes, looks my old teacher in the eye, and goes, "What do I do?" Teacher goes, "Kelsey, he's trying to play you a song. Isn't that so nice?" Kelsey, no. Code with one word. LMAO. Elementary students are the greatest. Not a teacher, but I have a story of my one teacher with my personal relationship at the time. So a good friend of mine had a huge crush on me, and so did I back. Now my one teacher was a complete sweetheart, and she got on extremely well with her students. She also liked getting involved with her students, in a good way. Now a few months after the friend's first confession, the one day he randomly handed me a note that read "Count to 30 and follow me," and he left the class. Now I freaked out a little, because I'm a goody 2 shoes and never left my class without good reason. So 30 seconds became 2 very long minutes. I could see the dude walking outside checking up on me and started to notice the class was staring at me. I was and still kinda am extremely shy, but I knew I couldn't just leave him there. So I collected myself and asked the teacher if I can go to the ladies' room, and she quite suddenly yelled, "Yes Sophie, please do." So I realized something was up and quickly hurried out the door. The dude had coated the whole school hall in roses, and when I followed him, I found him with a cake that asked, "Will you be my girlfriend?" This stuff sounds like it came out if a not chic flick, but it actually happened, which still shakes me to this day. But yeah, apparently the whole class, especially my teacher, were in on it and set the whole thing up. In fact, my teacher was the one who helped set up the entire thing. For the rest of my high school life, that confession was like the standard for the rest of the guys in the year I said yes, and we dated for a few years. Unfortunately, due to personal issues for both of us, the relationship didn't last, but we didn't end on bad terms. I still consider them a good friend. I'm not a teacher, but my senior year of high school, there was this girl whose locker was outside one of my classes, and we had the same class afterwards. She'd want me to walk her to class every day, and if I didn't, she'd be all, "Why didn't you wait for me?" Or if I wasn't at school that day, she'd say, "Where were you? I missed you." Anyway, I had a massive crush on this girl. But I was also incredibly shy about romantic things. I could talk to girls like friends no problem, but for romantic things, I just couldn't get past that mental block. And it never occurred to me until later that she had any interest in me. But I think my teacher could tell we were into each other. After his class was over, I'd wait by her locker, and on occasion my teacher would see me and be like, "Waiting for your girlfriend?" "She's not my girlfriend, she's just my friend." Yeah, Oklahoma. Whatever you say. I have a lot of regrets in my life, and not making a move was one of them. Edit, I left out that if I wasn't at her locker, she'd ask my teacher if I was in class that day, which he would tell me later. That girl asked if you were in class yesterday. Oh, Oklahoma. Man, I was a blithering idiot.